was rereading Lord of the Rings recently, and there's a phrase that struck me just at the very end of it that, I don't know, it sort of brought life to me. Sam is in a coma, really, basically, after he and Frodo have accomplished their mission. And during this last several months, Sam has gone through sort of great hardships. The great mentor that he has, Gandalf, he saw fall into an abyss and apparently die. He and his master, Frodo, have gone through, sort of unspeakable horror and danger and fatigue and trial. They finally accomplish their mission, and outside Mount Doom, they think they're going to die. The gas, the ash, the lava, they think they're going to die. Sam's in a coma. He wakes up and he says, "Have I been in a dream?" And then he sees Frodo's hand, and Frodo's missing a finger, and he says, "Oh my gosh." And then he sees Gandalf, and the book says Gandalf was wearing white robes and his face was glistening in the sun. And Gandalf says, "How do you feel, Master Samwise?" And Sam says, "I thought you were dead, but then I thought I was dead myself." He says, "Has everything sad come untrue? Is everything sad going to come untrue?" And isn't that a tremendous line? What Sam is saying is there's some way that all the despair that he had is going to be flipped upside down, and it's actually going to bring life. If you think about it, this is what Joseph experienced. Joseph and his brothers are discussing what they had done to him at a certain point in his life. And he said, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." What he's saying is all the difficulties we've had, the wounds that we've had that have sort of paralyzed us or taken us out, in one sense we thought they've taken us out. We're out of the battle. And what Scripture says, no, they actually are turned upside down so that the wounds that we've had ended up being more glorious than anything we could imagine. Somewhere C.S. Lewis says that God is not merely mending the world. He's not simply returning it to the status quo. But somehow, redeemed humanity is going to be more glorious than unfallen humanity. You're saying God is turning things upside down so that the very worst wounds, the very worst struggles, even the very worst falls that we've ever had are going to be turned upside down so that eventually they will be our truest glory. If you think about it, think what happens in Scripture. Jesus, when he rises again from the dead, when he has his resurrected body, what does he have? He has his scars. There's some way that even that spiritual body, that oxymoron that Scripture talks about, even Jesus has scars on his body, on his hands and his feet and his side. This means that there's some way that God turns all the difficulties in our life into something hope-giving and life-giving. Think what our life could be like if we could live that way. Think of the hope, think of the joy, think of the power, think of the strength that we can have if we know that even our darkest nights are going to be turned into great dawning. That's the hope of the resurrection, and that's the hope that we all have, and it's splendid.